welcome to the living room. This is episode 3, and I have a fabulous guest called Karen with me today on the show. The reason why I invited Karen to be on this show is because she has impacted me from the time I've met her. I think she's a very strong woman and loves the way that how she carries herself, and she's not afraid to speak up her mind. And she's really someone that you can look up to for being someone who's confident, and she's all about fitness. And I just love the little things that she's been doing. So let me allow you to introduce Karen to the show.
Hi everybody, and thank you Siobhan for having me on your fabulous show. I'm really excited about this, and thank you for such an honor. So my name is Karen. I only have one identity, but I wear several hats. Okay, so I'm a child of God. That's my sole identity, and different hats. So that includes a certified health and fitness coach. That's what I do. I actually own a mobile fitness business, which is called KarenLee.Fitness. You could check it out. And I'm a certified personal trainer, so I provide virtual personal training lessons, and then also virtual coaching sessions. So it's a new site that I launched recently. It's called www.coachanywhere.fitness. So apart from that, I'm also a neuroscience geek. I love anything about the brain, right? Because the brain just fascinates me a lot. So I have been reading a lot about that. And I play the cajon. Cajon is actually a Spanish, or rather a Peruvian instrument. It's a rectangular box. Yeah, so that's my interest lately. And lastly, I want to say that I'm also a former lesbian. So I was actually living as a lesbian for 23 years. And it's only been about 2.5 years that I chose to walk out of this lifestyle.
And that's amazing. That's really amazing for women to come out there to share that, this is what I've been through. And I think that's what I would love to celebrate about women like that, because we are real, we have real experiences, and we're not afraid to wear our scars. Like we show our scars very, very proudly that this is what we are. So how have you been keeping busy during the stay-home period?
Well, to be honest, I'm actually enjoying this circuit breaker period. I'm spending my time solely on my online classes because I'm actually taking a graduate diploma in positive psychology. So there's a lot of reading, there's a lot of assignments to be done, right? And also I've been reading a lot of books on positive psychology, and it really helps with my well-being. So understanding the theory is one thing, but applying is another thing. So I've been applying theory like 3 good things exercise. So my mom and I, we have actually started a cooking channel, on my channel, right, which I haven't launched, right? So it's really to incorporate Singlish and Hokkien, which I failed miserably, but that's okay, right? Because my mom is the highlight, which is important. Yeah, so it's about teaching people how to cook simple stuff, less than 15 minutes, healthy yet yummy, under 15 minutes. And then on an evening basis, we reflect on how our day went, right? And then we write 3 good things that happened to us individually. And then why is this a good thing to you, right? So we've been doing that, not every night, but at least 2 or 3 times a week. And it really helps with our relationship. Of course, even though, we don't have a perfect mother-daughter relationship, but it definitely has allowed us to bond a lot more. Yeah, so it's been really effective and productive.
And it's great because I think during this time, right, it's really good to remind ourselves to be grateful. I had a guest in the previous episode, and she spoke about just being grateful. Stay positive, be grateful for the little things. Like a lot of people have been complaining about how their favorite bubble tea has been shut down and all that, but you're failing to see the big picture out there, because this kind of family time doesn't really come often, and I think this kind of time that's given to us, this opportunity allows us to do things that we never get time to do. You can follow your passions, you can actually catch up on your reading. There's so much things to do. And one fun fact about Karen is Karen and I used to actually go to the same secondary school. So when we found out about that, it's so amazing that we actually crossed paths after so many years in that.
Yeah, I know, right? So it's the weirdest thing, but it's just so amazing too. It's like,
Yeah,
wow, it's amazing.
that shows how small the world is.
That's right.
And for today's topic, right, I've actually wanted Karen to speak about beauty. The reason being is I feel that beauty has been like, in a way, it's been packaged, that, when women are being looked at, right, you have to look a certain way to be beautiful, like in terms of your looks, in terms of your weight, your appearance, and all that. So I think we should really look at beauty, define beyond the society standards, because there are women out there who might be like, they don't love makeup, for example, or they don't really like to be too feminine, but they're still beautiful. And some people look at that way and try to actually put them down, or try to actually mold them into something different. And I really want Karen to share more on that, about how you can be really beautiful in your own skin. So, Karen, do you want to just share, like, what does beauty mean to you? How would you define it?
Okay. It's definitely a tough question, right? Because like when you look at me, I don't have like I'm not very feminine, right? And I really hate makeup, to be honest. And I really just like having long hair. So
I'm the
friends have
complete
been.
opposite. I'm the complete opposite of Karen.
That's right, and that's why we click so well, because opposites
Yeah,
attract in that sense as friends,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So to me, right, I define beauty as insight, the inner beauty that comes from within, right?
Mm-hmm,
Because it's actually the values, the core values and strengths that define who you are. So for me, right, I know what are my core values and my strengths, right, that
mm-hmm,
define who I am. And of
mm-hmm.
course, being a child of God, right, it's is another different identity, because when you speak to worldly individuals, you don't tell them I'm a child of God, they don't get it, they don't understand what
Yeah,
that means. But
that's true.
if you tell them, okay, my core values are these and my strengths are these, right, and then they'll be
Mm-hmm,
able to say, okay, I understand. That molds you, who you are, defines who you are. So to me, right, beauty, it's about having a good heart, being compassionate, right, and also not fake
mm,
about the way you present yourself, or when you say something, just do it. Having the integrity, being trustworthy, right, and be able to help people around you who need help. I think these are the basic fundamentals of being a good human.
and these are
Yeah,
characters that you've pointed out, because sometimes the character of the person will actually make them look more beautiful, compared to their physical self. And you can actually put on layers of makeup, but you can never hide an ugly heart.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. And how do you
And
feel, in society, and when they define beauty, how do you feel adverse to that?
yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, because there's so many advertisements right there,
Mm,
right? So research actually shows that each person watches about 5,000 adverts a day. So when we see the kinds of adverts that we don't want to see, or we're exposed to kind of adverts in terms of cosmetic, beauty, makeup, we get exposed to that definition of beauty. So it's very worldly, it's very outer appearance. It's all about your image, right? Nothing about the inside. And you wonder why girls, right, as young as 8 or 9 years old, they are
mm,
so self-conscious about their looks, on their
mm,
image, right? Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
And it's because of all these advertisements that they've been watching, right?
Mm,
Like, even I'll give you an example, like a simple Instagram account, right?
mhm,
Between a fitness influencer,
mhm,
right, who is really pretty, has got good body, knows nothing about human anatomy, knows nothing about form and technique of the exercise, versus somebody um, who just not as pretty as her or drop dead gorgeous as her, right? Okay, maybe myself, right? And know the anatomy of the body, right? It has the proper knowledge, has the form and technique knowledge, but just doesn't have that followers, the amount of followers that she has, right? So what does it show? This shows that I'm not as pretty as her, right? Sex appeal sells, right? Yeah. So this is the kind of worldly standard that is being defined out there right now, right? Which is unfortunate. But importantly, right, it's really about how do you define beautiful, right? How does the individual define beautiful? If the person wants to chase after looks and image, right, and eventually this person might get burned, right, or might have to sacrifice something, right? I'm not sure, but there has to be there has to be something that this person would have to sacrifice at the end of this, right? This, what do you call this? Not equality, but standard. Yeah.
And it does go back to the fact of how do you feel internally. I think if you have that confidence and that assurance in yourself, it wouldn't faze you as much when someone speaks bad about you or someone criticizes about the way you look. You kind of just blow it off and you kind of just keep on moving because you can't please everyone. But at the same time, if someone who has very low self-esteem, low values, and not very sure of themselves, it kind of breaks that person even more, and that person ends up trying to better that situation. I think that's why a lot of them, we have anorexics, we have people doing all kinds of things trying to make themselves beautiful, and it's a part of acceptance. I think they just want to be accepted in the society, but the most important thing is maybe for them to accept themselves first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. So self-love, right, is so essential and so imperative, right? So it's about loving yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, how do you expect others to love you, right? And I always ensure that, I love myself. Not that I'm narcissistic, that's different, completely different definition or meaning, right? But when you love yourself, you actually have self-care routines, right? You just want to make sure that you have a healthy lifestyle. Everything about you, right, is clean and healthy. That's it, right? Not on the extreme side. I think it's important to really understand how not to let people get to you, right? Like a
That's so
lot of
true.
online comments, and they just attack. They can be so vicious, right? And then, like you said, if an individual who is not strong, doesn't have, right, a good, a proper, or ideal self-esteem, right? He or she just lets all these cyber bullies attack them, right? Then how do you overcome? Because there's no point fighting and getting yourself miserable, but it's about overcoming and not let yourself be affected by them.
And when you started out, it might not be easy as well, like, trying to be out there, being on social media platforms, having to share your story as well. And how do you overcome some of this negative remarks that people throw at you?
Yeah, I actually do have a good support or good community of friends, right? So when I used to get attacked when my first video from True Love was actually launched online, right? And there were really nasty comments, right? And they were very personal, right? They talked about LGBT, they talked about the rainbow, like, this is not God's rainbow. This is not part of a Noah's covenant, right? This is actually LGBT. So anyway, all this nonsensical stuff, right? So what I did was I just replied with how Jesus replied to his followers. Yeah, so really understanding, knowing that I am the follower of Jesus Christ. I just want to endeavor to be like him. So how? So we just have to walk into his steps, right? Yeah, so it's about treating others with respect too, even though you're getting a lot of disrespect. So for me, what I did was I just politely replied them. I said that it's actually in the Bible, right? You can look it up, right? And I know that this is not a personal attack, so I forgive you, Yeah, so I say, I forgive you for saying these things to me. Goodbye. That's it. Nothing, not a paragraph, no need, just one sentence, right? And then just block it. So I
Which
just
is
blocked.
which is so great. And I think that's what I used to do as well when I start to have this kind of negative remarks. And there was this quote that I read some time back, which actually said that hurt people, they hurt other people. So they have their own wounds, so they don't really know how to treat it. So they just go around bleeding around everybody. And that's really how we should look at people who are posting negative remarks. Instead of like um, coming back at them, or instead of reacting to them, we should actually sympathize with them because they are going through a challenge as well. Like we are vocal about it, they are just keeping quiet about whatever they are going through. And based on what you've gone through and your journey and all that, right? What inspires you? What gets you motivated every day?
Be able to wake up, right, and be able to see the sky, be able to see trees, and be able to know that my parents are here with me. I think that's enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, I used to think that I need to have a lot of money. I need to be very successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need to live in a big house, all the 5 C's. But now yeah, it's been many years since I've had that kind of an aspiration. But now, right, now life is really, really, really short, right? And now it's just being grateful, right, of what I have, and just be able to um, fulfill my passion, right, and to be able to continue walking in the path with God, right, and be able to strengthen my spirituality. That's it. Yeah.
Is there a quote that you live by?
Be the change you want to see.
Nice. I love that quote. We need to hashtag that.
Yeah.
And that's really true. I think I love what you're doing because you are being proactive about wanting
Thank
to
you.
change yourself and change your life. And I think that's why you've been so successful. That's why your journey has gone so smoothly. I mean, it might have hiccups along the way, but it didn't stop you from persevering. It didn't stop you from like trying to do new things. And do you find that you are missing out when you're following your passion and not condoning to the world standards of trying to change yourself?
Maybe initially, I guess initially when I was still living in darkness, right? Like living in darkness. Not that people who are not living in that time, or rather living in darkness, is chasing after the worldly stuff, right? Don't get me wrong. But this is just my personal story. So I guess when I was living as a lesbian, all I was chasing was just money,
Mm-hmm.
fame,
Mm-hmm.
lots of you know nothing was functional. It was all very dysfunctional, right? Having that kind of mindset. Yeah, and mind you, I was still a Christian, right? Because I was born into a Christian family. I already knew Christ, right? So it's not that I had transformed from non-Christian to Christian. So that made it even harder, right? Because whatever that I had done were not of God. So so then after I realized that I really needed to be happy because I wasn't happy doing all this stuff that I was chasing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then I realized that I was really not being kind to myself. Mm. So then I just gave up. I basically just changed from a corporate life to becoming who I am today. Then I realized that, oh wow, I actually find my work to be so meaningful and purposeful, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about seeing tangible results, like seeing people lose 10 kg, 15 kg, within 6 months. It's not even about that. It's about seeing that they are happy with their changes, right? That they're able to adopt healthy habits.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to grow, right? And they're able to change on their own, right? And they're able to be independent, right? So you see, it's about the empowerment, right, that they have received from my coaching. Yeah, so we see individuals who are thriving in that area, right, versus short-term goal, but long-term gains,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's really, really powerful. And that's why, right, this part here is so much more meaningful than chasing after short-term goals. Yeah. So that's why out there, right, I'm very different from other trainers, right? Because trainers would tell you, okay, this is my plan, do it, follow, guaranteed you'll lose weight. But I don't do that, right? I actually empower you and guide you to find your own solutions, right, to your own lifestyle.
And I love that. I love the word that you're using is empower. And I think that's the whole idea about why I'm doing this as well. It's basically not, it's not just people and to empower them. It's not to just give them the resources or the strategies or the tips, and that's not going to work. It will work on a short-term basis, but on a long-term basis, it will affect them. So I would rather go to the root of the problem, help them to identify what's causing them, to lose confidence, what's causing them to feel that way, and empower them to actually come out of it. And just jumping in a little bit, because you did speak about the LGBT thing, right? If we do have any viewers out there who have, concerns about LGBT, or if they want to get any other additional resources, right? Where would they be? Where would be the best place that they can actually go to?
That's a very good question. Church of the Savior is actually one church, and they have been pioneering, right, the LGBT resources and providing the right resources and help and support to the LGBT community. And that's one. And then the other one would be 316 Church 316, which is True Love. So True Love is a platform where they have stories of the LGBT individuals to share, right, how they have overcome, right? Yeah, and then of course we have other individuals out there like myself, right, and a few others that I met in Taiwan. So we actually have a community, right, on WhatsApp, even on Facebook, that we support, we connect one another, because this is a very long term, a lifetime journey, right? It's not just right? It's not just overnight, like I was a lesbian. Yes, even though right now I'm not, right? But it doesn't mean that I don't have any SSA, which is same-sex attraction. But I can tell you that, the same-sex attraction has significantly reduced, right? And the reason being, I don't go look for it, right? I don't look for it, right? I don't seek it, right? And I'm just not interested. Like, I don't have the desire at all. Yeah. So it's definitely something that's been difficult because there has been a lot of spiritual warfare. That's for sure, right? Yeah. So it's really a matter of your decision. What is your choice, right? What kind of choices do you want to make? Because God, right, has given us free will already, right? Because we're living in this fallen world. So what do you want to do about your life, right? So for me, it was really about obedience, Yeah, so in a nutshell, there are actually a lot of resources. So the very first one to really seek would be Church of the Savior, or just come to me and I'll be more than happy to direct you.
Okay. And we'll share some of Karen's links on our YouTube channel bio as well. So you'll be able to access her if you need to. And on that note, as we're coming to an end, right, Karen, is there any takeaways or any advice that you would like to give to viewers, especially to young women out there?
Yeah. Identify what your next step is, right? Could be in the next 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, or even 10 years. What is your next 1 year going to be like? Do you want to continue to be in the same state as you are, or do you want to move out of this state, right? Yeah, so it's really a matter of making the right decision, right? And it's really not about following your heart, because our heart can be very deceiving, right? So it's really about here, but at the same time, right, understanding what do you want, right? And also knowing your why. Okay, so knowing your why is very, very important. So once you know your why, you know your what, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you begin to find your how. Yeah. So it's really about seeking your next better years to come. Yeah.
Thanks so much for your feedback, and thanks for being on this show, Karen. And I
Pleasure.
just want to encourage the viewers out there to just take this in a very positive light and to embrace yourself. Look at yourself daily in the mirror, be proud of who you are, and declare to yourself if you need to be that you are beautiful. Just like how we declare that to each other every day, like, Karen's a beautiful young woman, and just keep that affirmation going. So, all right, viewers, we'll see you again in the next episode of The Living Room. Thanks, Karen.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you, Siobhan. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.